Dear listeners, dear viewers, welcome to our event podcast, ZDROJE TU SHOW. Resources are available. We are today in Brno at URBIS, the largest smart city trade fair in the Czech Republic, and it is my honor to welcome our distinguished guests, Wim de Kinderen, chairperson of the European Network of the Living Labs, and his colleague Koen Vervoort, who is senior stakeholder strategist. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Wim, it's great to see you here. I know that many people who came here and our precious guests, waited for your coming. Can you explain what is the role of the European Living Lab and your role in this organization, and what's actually its identity and profile? Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And thank you for having us, because this is really an incredible event. There are smart cities events all over the place, but first time we're here, and it's really impressive to see what you're doing here in Brno and the Czech Republic. So the European Network of Living Labs is actually a global network in spite of its name. We have a lot of members all over the place, and we are promoting and facilitating Living Labs. Living Labs is all about co-creation. So our slogan basically is empowering everybody to innovate. Research activities, innovation activities are at the core. And we, in a Living Lab, we help the collaboration between the so-called quadruple helix parties, which is private business, very important on this fair, public authorities, academia, and then very important, the end user, which is in a smart city context in particular, the individual citizens living in our cities and communities. So we set up collaborative innovation practices with them towards a clear goal, like a result, something that is useful for the people and which is creating value for the companies who are providing those services, but also for the public authorities who have this mission, this in a social goal to stimulate life in their cities, of course. And we are the network of the organizations making those living labs happening. What the network does, so we facilitate knowledge exchange, peer review learnings, and etc. And we have an whole set of activities to make that happen, which I will explain later on.
Thank you. And Koen, your role, senior stakeholder strategist and network, what does it entail? What's the scope of these living labs? Are they only in Europe or elsewhere?
No, so like Wim was already indicating, we have approximately close to 20%, which is outside European borders. And my role as senior stakeholder strategist, which is part of the network department of our organization, is to help all these members, but also external organizations, to better understand what is this living lab concept, how do you deal with this, how do you run it, how do you operationalize it, and to advise not only the council, but also the members on to do better stakeholder management or engagement, and how do you keep this in a long-term perspective?
So it is an innovative ecosystem across the EU, but beyond. Can you explain how does it work, and what's the purpose actually of this institution? Because why to have such a network? Why it is? What does it yield? What's the benefit of it?
Well, as said, we strongly believe in the added value of a living lab, because it is really key for all kinds of purposes that we continue investing in research, that we continue stimulating innovation. But it is not, according to us, the best situation if only one of the stakeholders is pursuing and getting their own interests realized. Like if it's only public policy who is realizing its own benefits, disregarding the interests of academia or of industry, it would not be a good situation, and vice versa for the others. So we believe in the merging of the interests and to create value for all. That is what Living Labs do, and that is what we promote really for this societal goal at the end to and it's a bit of a slogan, but really to improve life and a better world.
The Draghi report said that we still, after 80 years of the European Union, we'll still have these borders. And is it the idea that, you actually connect all those projects or ecosystems so that they know about each other, so that they can reconnect and create this extra level of collaborative platform or culture that enables them to harness the powers and capabilities across those ecosystems, because each living lab might comprise many members, but it's like a system of system. Is it correct?
Totally, because as I was saying in my intervention yesterday, the drag report and the future policy that the European Union is now projecting is really, really important. But we have to unite Europe in this, so we have to help our members. It's not something an individual organization can always do on themselves, but by joining a network and having a network organization with a team, like Koen is one of the key people in the team, with us as the management board, steering, giving direction to the whole movement, I think we can unify Europe in a way, but also still and strengthen Europe, which is a major goal of the Draghi report, that we really have to unite to become stronger in the world, but at the same time keeping an open eye to global collaboration, because this is really key. It's a fairy tale to think that we need to be on ourselves. We need to be stronger, but we're definitely not on ourselves. And through networks like ENOL, where we literally have members in every continent across the world, we can make those connections happen and make sure that we are having global collaboration for the benefit of all.
Going forward, we expect there will be more programs on innovation and research in the European Union. Horizon is to expand in the next programming period. Is there any formal value of being a part of this network for example, Czech, ecosystems on smart urban mobility or smart energy? Is there any, tangible, formal benefit of having this status of being accredited or certified by your organization?
Definitely, Koen can give many examples, but one of the things we do is really screen the funding opportunities that the European Union is offering. And then we share those possibilities with the members, and we help them to set up collaborative projects for their benefit and their activities.
And from an individual living lab perspective, it's really valuable to be accredited or labeled by ENOL, since the funding mechanisms of the European Commission recognize the definition, like we put it in place, as to be the standard when it comes to living labs. So we have developed an evaluation framework where we keep track of all the essential building blocks to become a stable, sustainable living lab. And by helping them, because we have a monitoring and evaluation and learning framework, so it's all about recommendations on how can you grow in those multiple parts better to become long-term sustainable. Apart from what Wim was saying, of course. So we have a full scanning project department.
So we've got some formal benefit, but of course, being a part of the ecosystem of more than 200, similar counterparts, across the EU and beyond. What kind of networking activities or matchmaking you do to actually promote and leverage all these efforts? Because there might be some challenges that might be systemic, and there might be different ecosystem working together. So can you outline what would you actually do for this?
Well, of course, we have our flagship event every year, which is called the Open Living Lab Days, which is happening always in the week where September becomes October. This year we will be in Belgium, where it's actually a gathering where we bring together all these organizations and externals, by the way, to really connect and learn from each other. But apart from that, we have multiple working groups to dive really into specific sectors or operational parts. Like, it's not only about mobility, but it's also about regulatory learning and everything which is related to that, which is cross-sectoral, of course. So that's things we do. We have a knowledge hub where they can find best practices. We have capacity building activities, which are given mostly by our own members to other members, so that they can learn from the real experts in the field. So,
are there any
and we do peer-to-peer learning, like Wim was saying. So I think in the network department we receive daily, questions from a member. Look, I'm looking for this or that, and then we connect them with another member in the network, and then they can talk.
Very interesting. Are there any Czech living labs part of your ecosystem?
We have 3. So we have Recitox from Brno here, which was the first certified Czech living lab. And then after that came ProBio living lab, which is in the soil sector. And then last year, Pils Lab became a member. So yes, it's growing.
And from the interests, we are gathering here because we're only here for the first day, still 2 days to go.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we really got a lot of numerous real interest questions, not just politeness, but really people with ideas who want to talk with us later today and tomorrow. So being here is really a way, and the reason, of course, why we're here, to extend also the footprint in the Czech Republic. And as said, in the 13 thematic working groups on topics which are being discussed here, mobility, energy, digital transformation of cities, etc., they can each find their place all over the year, because the flagship event is the Open Living Lab Days, but these working groups are the permanent layer of activities, so that is something we can really offer to the Czech community.
So like a super brain for smart and innovative solutions,
Yes.
and you are like a facilitator and matchmaker, you know, across these ecosystems. One important issue is that still we have a burden of this communist part and communist history, and it would be good to understand what's the structure of your ecosystem. Are there more Western, countries, or more Central and Eastern countries? What's the composition of your ecosystem?
Well, Koen will complement what I'm saying. Living labs originally come from the USA. Actually, it was the concept was determined in MIT in Massachusetts, Boston, USA, in the 90s. In Europe, Finland has been very important. The Finnish colleagues have really been developing living labs in Europe. It's also not a coincidence, probably, that 20 years ago, when we started, we're celebrating 20 years of NL this year, that it was happening under the presidency of Finland of the European Council. So we're not a European institution, not a European initiative, but that year we were started really from Finland. We have had a few Finnish presidents as well, but today it's really all over the place. We are in almost every European country. We see many living labs joining us from Eastern Europe, but that's not new. There's really a catch up today, but they have been there all the time. Poland is very active in our membership, for example.
Can you exemplify some members, or yesterday we talked about smart mobility. Yeah, what kind of ecosystems are part of your network?
We have a diverse range. So one which I would like to point out is the Thessaloniki Smart Mobility Living Lab, which is a data-driven living lab. They really work with digital twins and a lot of sensor data, but they do involve the citizens in it as well. While when you look, for instance, at the IMEC Living Labs in Antwerp, they taken much more bottom up. So they thought about, okay, what mobility problems do we have here actually before we come with the solutions, which in my personal regard is the best way to approach it. But I think all urban living labs in our network across Europe, but even beyond, and like Smart Safety Living Lab in Korea, Seoul is very strong in the mobility approach as well. Which is handy because then you can see the cultural approach and the difference in it, so that the European members can learn from that as well, and vice versa, of course. But I think all urban living labs have a mobility kind of approach, integrated or a separate department or plan like it. And what our mobility working group tries to achieve is then preventing all those individual members to reinvent the wheel, which has already been figured out by another.
Yeah. Can you outline the process of being certified by your network, to become a member? Because it's not open door association. You need to comply with certain rules. So can you explain the basics of this process?
I think I'm the best guy, right? You are. You are. So, first to understand, and that's really important, when we are talking about members, we are talking about what we call macro living labs, which means they have a long-term sustainable approach, not a project-bound approach. So we see living labs in 3 layers.
So it's really ecosystem. It's a kind
really
of program.
The ecosystem, the orchestrator role, what Wim was talking about, which is important. And then we developed a harmonized assessment method, which exists out of 2 parts, talking about those building blocks, which I was mentioning before. So you do a quantitative self-assessment, which allows you as a living lab, because there's many diverse types of living labs, to benchmark you against others in your region, but also in your sector or cross-sectoral. That's the quantitative self-assessment, but that's combined with a 3-peer blind reviewed qualitative assessment. And it's 3-peer blind is done by experts from our network. And they provide you then with the recommendations like, okay, we identify this best practice, we should use it there. And when you want to grow further in governance, for instance, you need to think about formalizing some things, and you go there and have a look at that specific member because they are really strong in that. So that's how it works. So you can apply 24/7 at any given moment, but we have operationalized it internally in 2 blocks because otherwise we are continuously doing this. And it's the General Assembly who approves the new members. And we have General Assemblies twice a year.
Twice a year, yes.
Yeah.
And this is really key. So once you're in the network, we really help you continuously to grow, to get better. But the threshold is also there because carrying the annual label, literally, you can use the logo if you're a member, has to mean something. It has to be significant. We want our members to. Living labs are about collaboration, but the collaboration which a living lab is also needs to collaborate again with others across borders. But as said, that's what we're stimulating. But there needs to be a mutual recognition or a knowledge that this organization carrying the label is qualitative. I can have trust. And I am guaranteed that there is a quality, a level of activities which means something and which will bring me further. Because it's not a protected trademark, but carrying the annual label means you're qualitative. I am a company, I need these services. I can address those people and they're really going to help me. It's not just some amateurs who pretend to be giving value to me.
I appreciate this feature very much because it's about collaborative culture. It's about goals, about trust, and about rules at the very first level. And then you can advance to roles, motivation, talents, to lessons learned, integrating newcomers and managing performance. And this is what I really like. And also this process might help those living labs to align with other ecosystems and find that matchmaking and spillover potential that might be available.
Yes, and you were asking the question about the history of the Czech Republic, the history of Eastern Europe. This is also important. I mean, we don't have to be the same. It's even relevant and of value that we are different. If I am a company, I'm referring constantly to companies because this is important for the network and it's actually getting a specific focus this year, the collaboration with industry. But if the companies here, the Czech companies here, they want to market their products not in Czech Republic, but in, let's say, in Spain. It's a different culture. They use the technologies maybe in a different way. We, through the network, can help them in learning the Spanish market and the Spanish culture better so that they can maybe accommodate their products to better serve the Spanish market. This is also a value. It's not about being better or worse or stronger or weaker. You're just different, and we acknowledge that and even embrace it, and then help our people to get to navigate in that landscape.
Can you give some examples, real benefits, take one ecosystem which joined you recently and how they could develop or, exploit this process and that potential that your networking association offers?
Well, we have very strong members all over the place. The most recent one, which I can remember of, it's a Spanish healthcare living lab, which is called We Care CoLab. And it's just to prove that we learn from incoming members every day as well, because the way that they managed to kind of create a governance model, which we hadn't seen before and seems to work pretty well. What they managed to do there is to really involve all the players in their city when it comes to health of quality of life. Sorry, that's what I wanted to say, of their citizens, because there's a lot of air pollution, etc. So they started with the citizens, which is very good, and it's one of the very few which have a really active role of citizens in the governance layer, because citizens are usually involved in living labs more and more via media representation, etc. But there they play a crucial role. So they have the power equally to decide, no, we don't continue this. And then, for instance, so that's a very good example. And they will benefit from it because we will definitely ask them to start training our others on how to do that as well, because we strongly believe in this approach. So to really involve quadruple helix players. Another one which is a bit older, but when you talk about companies and validation of solutions, again, Living Labs are not about solutions, it's about solving the problems. But they found a way. It's Lika Lab in Belgium, where I originate from, and they really have created a kind of incubator mechanism where they work together with SMEs, etc., and develop real products with elderly people in their case. And they have multiple examples. I think the most amazing one is what they call a moving bench. So any park in Belgium by now, and we are 5 years down the road, they have co-developed with the elderly people a moving bench where you can sit and do the stretching and etc. And this company has grown 150% due to the fact that it was validated by society, actually. So the credibility of the solution increased massively because, of course, it's cities buying, your customers are cities.
So to translate it to the Czech audience, it's like a springboard to exploit not only internal market but maybe other global markets, because you become aware of your partners, of your potential supporters, and it's difficult to enter new markets because there are some culture, customs and habits that you cannot simply understand, and by this network you can access those markets in a more in an easier way.
In an easier way, indeed. Yeah? They still have to do it themselves.
Yeah.
But we will be and we can be there to help them and to make that happen for sure.
Yeah. Wim, you mentioned that this year it will be your 20th birthday. It's in some cultures it is the marker of adulthood.
Indeed. Yes.
And so, what are your plans going forward? Because at this moment it's your milestone. Maybe for the next decade, what is your vision and your ideas about how you can move it forward?
Yeah, 20 November was literally the day that we were founded. So this year, 20 November, there will be an event. We have still to define the details, but somewhere in Belgium, and you are already invited to be there.
Thank you.
Also, the originators will be invited and will be there. It's an important milestone. But it's really in between moment. Last year we reached the cap of 200 active members. As was explained before, we are constantly assessing Living Labs. So as it happens in an organization, people come and people go. So over the years, we have been evaluating like that, positively evaluating more than 500 Living Labs globally. 200 of them are still active in the network, which is quite substantial, I think. So that is something we definitely want to grow. And for the bigger strategies for the future, well, the basics don't change. That is also very important. We're not suddenly going to change everything because we happen to be 20 years. This collaborative co-creation on research and innovation to solve problems, as Koen was rightly saying, that is what we will continuously be doing. We will be strengthening our members and strengthening the team to make that happen. And we actually approved also last year our updated multi-annual strategy. So every so many years we do that, of course, like every organization does it. So we keep track of what's going on. And as I was saying before, the newest strategic objective is collaboration with industry. Not because they're more important than the other parties I've been mentioning, academia, citizens, public authorities, but they do deserve proper and more specific attention, we believe. So this is something for the next years that we will definitely be putting an extra focus on without neglecting the rest.
From a knowledge perspective, it's growing outside in, and like you say, grow the network in a whole, but also strengthen the network from within. So we are planning to organize a Living Lab professional academy.
Yeah,
so because you have crucial roles in a living lab, so how can we support each of those members, external or internal, to have stronger qualified people as well, which is important for sustainability. So.
Yeah, this is was not mentioned yet, but when we are saying we want to strengthen our member, it's logical to say it, but it's rather abstract. We don't make it abstract. It's very concrete. We have a very substantial training program, the capacity building program, where we really offer courses for anyone, beginners, experts, single modules, full programs, in person, online. So really anyone who wants to strengthen their competences in living labs and really going towards a living lab as a profession next year. Actually, we're developing the program as we are speaking. This is something that we will put extra attention
and all these trainings are hands-on, focused on what you do actually. So it's not like pure theory. It's you need to really do things, and then we have mentors helping you, providing you the feedback on what you proposed during the training.
Yeah.
You know, we are expecting a World Football Cup, you know, in the coming weeks, and we will see the marvels of collaborative culture. Yeah, that even those strong individuals might lose because it's about that orchestration, that esprit de corps, and the tactics and strategy. And thank you for connecting thinking and connecting co-creating. I think it's very important, you know, to glue these individuals, those, you know, isolated units to work together, because it might leverage their potential. Final question. What did you find interesting about URBIS, and what are your plans for the rest of your stay here in Brno?
Well, I can go first. What I like very most about this is that it's really bringing together the whole local regional ecosystem with a focus on what's out there from smart city solutions, but also bridging it to the policy makers. And well, I think everybody can walk in here as well. I saw schools passing by yesterday, for instance. So that's really important to really trigger them in thinking about that way as well. So that I find very nice. What are my plans? Well, except for being in a panel today and trying to explain to the crowd what the living labs are and how you do this. Like Wim was mentioning, we are having many consultations with many different organizations, also people exhibiting here. So let's try to convince them and really empower everyone to innovate. And that's what we're here for. And it's a great conference.
Yeah, I can only confirm. We are having actually quite a positive and collaborative relationship with the Czech Republic, Czech Invest. In particular, I want to mention. So this is a Czech event with an outreach to Central Eastern Europe. But you also clearly see, and we've had meetings separately yesterday. I mean, locally in Brno, there's a very, very clear commitment to make this living lab happening here on the exhibition side, but also extending it to the city center territory, etc. So that's something we will help and support in the upcoming time. What are my own plans? Koen and colleague Marta are in a minute hosting a workshop, really practical on living labs. I will be joining a workshop later this afternoon on smart specialization strategy design, so with the Czech government, together with a Finnish colleague, by the way, and I look very much forward. And unfortunately, I have to leave tomorrow, but tonight we're going to have a beautiful visit to the Mies van der Rohe villa, so I look very much forward to that. So
Ken and Wim, thank you very much for this very inspiring talk, and connections are made. Resources are available, yeah. And our mental, our spiritual, our creative resources are available. Enjoy the rest of your stay here in URBIS, and I'm sure that we have not seen each other for the last time, and sure. The future is open.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Dear viewers, dear listeners, it is my pleasure and honor to invite into our event podcast, ZDROJE TU SHOW, Resources Are Available, our distinguished guest from the UK, Barry Singleton, and then his doctor.
Ahoy.
You are coming from Leeds. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dobrý den.
Dobrý den, dobrý den. And my first question towards you, Barry. You represent the University of Leeds, but also you are engagement manager with a wider mission, not only within the University of Leeds, but also on behalf of the city of Leeds, and also, you know, coming from this Nexus Leeds institution. Can you describe your role and the role of your organization, both the university and Nexus Leeds?
Sure. So, yeah, I'm engagement manager for Nexus Leeds. Nexus is the University of Leeds' innovation hub. And for the past 7 or 8 years, we've built a community of startup companies, scale-up companies, increasingly companies from outside the region. And they want to come to Nexus so they can collaborate with academics, researchers, and our student population. So it's my pleasure and my role to fulfill that. I guess where I can add in an interesting take into the conversation is that I used to work for a Canadian AI company, and we signed one of the first leases in Nexus to enable that company to do what I've just described.
Okay. And Dennis Doctor, you are Smart Cities Clusters Leeds lead. So what's your role and the role of this offshoot, probably, of Nexus Leeds, or what's the organizational setup with Nexus Leeds?
Yeah, thank you. I think what I try to focus on is mainly because Smart Cities is quite an umbrella term, but I think intentionally so, because it touches on a lot of expertise that we have within the university, whether it's designing upstream technology like new sensors, 3D printing, these types of technologies, but also we have a very big AI cluster, and digital after health tech is the biggest cluster in Leeds. So what we try to do is really focus on those companies that are trying to work on societal solutions, maybe not as a primary, but definitely at a secondary. So whether it's Earth observation technology, looking at climate technologies, or whether it's looking at how to better construct new sensor technologies and testing and validating them. So that's part of it. I'm also the institutional lead for digital twins for the university. So I'm the main representative to the Digital Twin Consortium, where I lead a couple of working groups on digital governance and on sustainable digital twins, mainly looking at how you can combine that. And I think one of the important things we're now doing as an innovation hub is also innovating ourselves. So how can we use something like a digital twin that we'd use for operational purposes also as something that we can use for innovative purposes for our members and for, I think, for fulfilling our civic duty as a university.
All right. We had another podcast with the European Networks of the Living Lab. So I understand you work at the urban level. Is there any mandate from the city of Leeds to explore and develop this area, or are you working solely on behalf of the University of Leeds and it's a standalone activity separated from the workings of the municipal government?
So I think, you know, we're both employed and work for the university, and we're deployed into supporting the Nexus Innovation Hub. So I think, you know, the university pays our wages, but I think we're both very cognizant of the fact that, you know, we're in a privileged position where we can get out and about and make connections and, you know, engage in more international conversations. So recently I was in Nashville. There's a health tech bridge between West Yorkshire and Nashville, and we're kind of right at the heart of that, establishing reciprocal arrangements between National Entrepreneur Centre and Nexus. And that's part of the reason why, you know, I'm here and in my role as engagement manager, can we make connections with other innovation hubs, other universities, the city of Brno, and, you know, people who are developing innovations and companies here, and invite them to the UK to test and validate their products in our active research environment that Dennis leads on.
And to understand your organizational setup and your history, can you outline when was your institution set up, with what mandate, and what's the current, you know, staff, you know, number, you know, and to understand better how big you are?
Yeah, so we officially opened the doors to the building. I think it was May 2019. I joined a couple of months later, and I know Barry, he joined as one of the first companies, as he just said. We've got a team, so there's two parts of Nexus. One part is the university staff, which involves Barry, me, a health tech lead, who also leads on, you know, the collaboration between members and leads a community team. And then we have the operational side, which manages the building, does the events, does the catering, to make sure that those needs of our members and of kind of our role get met as well. So in that sense, we really try to be both. We try to be that anchor institution that has that civic duty to support not just the university's agenda, but also support with, because if Leeds and if West Yorkshire are doing well, then the university is doing well, but also make sure that the members that we're catering to are able to host their investors, are able to demonstrate their products, are able to have their meetings or conferences there as well. And I think by having that split between the university side and between a limited company which is owned by the university, we're able to do both and make sure that it operates as efficiently as possible. And I think currently we have about 30 people in total. Mm-hmm. Around 30 people. Yes.
Yeah, and I think in many ways Nexus Leeds is a startup in its own right as well, in a sense, heavily supported in the origins by the university. Mm-hmm. But Nexus has been on a journey as a startup and is evolving and changing. We don't just have university spin-out companies based in our building and working amongst that community. It's people from a very early stage, so people at the ideation stage, for example, maybe students who are undergraduates. They're supported by a program called Spark. And Spark is the University of Leeds' enterprise education program, and those Spark scholars are able to use Nexus as a registered address. Really immerse themselves in a startup community where they can have those casual collisions and conversations with people who are maybe at a more experienced level with them. And then we also are starting to see a lot more interest from overseas companies that want to enter the UK market, particularly that want to look at trying to sell into the NHS, for example. And we provide a base and a space to enable them to flourish in that environment and that ecosystem as well.
And does your mandate focus mainly on the city of Leeds and the University of Leeds, or do you have wider, mandate, or ambition, to explore?
I mean, as an innovation hub, we aim to create, hopefully, international impact. I mean, that's why Barry goes out. That's why we try to make these international collaborations. Obviously, with an idea of whatever we learn and whatever we do abroad, we can take back and also support our own communities with. We've been running since a couple of years some accelerator programs as well. Innovative entrepreneurs, we've been part of the consortium that was leading on that, really making sure that underrepresented groups are also being brought into the area of entrepreneurialism, looking at now also hosting Climate Launchpad, really to make sure that we go out, we make sure that we generate impact, because I think that's an important part of being a university, is making sure that whatever knowledge is created also finds its way internationally and supports communities or other countries, as well as that we can take back from them to learn ourselves, and then use that as a way of improving our own area and seeing what can we learn, how can we twin, Brno and Leeds are sister cities, so how can we really make sure that we get the most out of our relationships, where we support each other with both our lessons and both our learnings, basically.
But I would like to ask you, to create an ecosystem, to reconnect people so that they have this connected thinking is a long-term process. You need to win trust. And you want to get all those stakeholders or key stakeholders, communities, entrepreneurs, startups, governments, local governments, central governments. How do you do it in practice?
So I think, Dennis often talks about the quadruple helix approach. Yeah. People used to talk about the triple helix. Well, everybody's going one step further now, aren't they? So I think, inevitably you need funding, you need money, you need cash. And capital can come from private investors, from venture capital firms, also from grant funding. So, that has to be in place. You need the environment and the ecosystem and, public sector buy into these kind of opportunities, which I feel that we do get quite well in Leeds. Then you need those kind of people with the creative ideas, the entrepreneurs who are prepared to, really kind of push their necks out and try and start do something innovatively. Those are the things, those are the ingredients you need. It's a bit like a band, isn't it? Everybody can be individually playing their instrument really, really well. Yeah. But if they're not playing at the same tempo or in the same key, things aren't going to work. So I think I see that's kind of part of what our role is, trying to conduct and make the audience work for the
synchronize.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of people often use sports analogies to talk about business and so on, don't you? But I quite like the thought of a band and they're all playing in the same tune at the same time, using the same music.
I watch closely the developments of the digital twins, and all these concepts in the built area in the UK. You know, it started from that famous, you know, data for the public good. You know, that, you know, actually the government understood that digital is a game changer. Like in medicine, yeah, you go to your physician and you want to get electromagnetic, surveys and use other computer topography. Yeah? And this is the power of data. What's the current status of this development? I understand what the Center for Digital Britain did, you know, the information framework, then it was taken over by Connected Places Catapult. And what's the ecosystem at the governmental level or the national level at the moment?
Yes, so there's, as you rightfully mentioned, the Connected Places Catapult already does a lot of work on digital twins. There's the Digital Catapult, which has a digital twin centre in Belfast, which we are working with as well and hoping to reproduce something similarly in West Yorkshire between different universities. I think what you know, just digital twins are great enablers. But what we see currently is the places they are most successfully applied is very much in predictable systems. So manufacturing, logistics, things that are kind of nicely constrained. And I think what the new goal is, something that we're heavily focused on, is looking at, okay, how does that work when it becomes a little bit more complex, from just looking at the innovation pathway in general, as you're developing through early TRLs and SRLs, so it's technology readiness levels and societal readiness levels, as you develop upwards, as well as looking at societal challenges. Because as a council or as a government, you're always confronted with putting out fires, because there's so much going on and you're under so much pressure to deliver.
Putting out fires or filling potholes.
Yeah. So digital twins, and that's what we're working on as a country, as a community with the Digital Twin Consortium, is really to see how can we provide the insights that allows you to, we'd say relax the belt a little bit so that you get some more breathing space to look at the causes and to appropriately address the challenges and see the impact, because that's a great thing digital twins can do. They're there to demonstrate, if they're built correctly, the impact of your decisions, because you have a before situation, you do your intervention, and you get the after situation, which then provides that agility as a community to see, is it working, is it not working, do I need to steer it? Whereas before, if you look at pre-digitization and really still at the analog systems that a lot of us still have, it's extremely difficult to do. So you can almost see the digital twin, and we very often say in the community, you need to have a digital twin before you can deploy AI, purely because a digital twin should provide you with the correct data and insights that is relevant. And sometimes that gets forgotten, that it's all about making sure what you're trying to do is impactful and relevant to the problems or the opportunities you're trying to address.
Exactly. I use this example of electromagnetic, resonance. In the modern medicine, this is absolutely obvious. And again, it's in our complex societies with our very complex issues. Digital twins could be a game changer.
Yes. How
to measure, manage, learn from previous occurrences, previous cases, and it's the right tool for risk management.
Absolutely.
And what kind of, so you described that, you mentioned that consortium. What's the structure of this consortium for digital twins in the UK?
Yeah, so it's an organization that's part of the EDM Association, which is a large data consortium since recently that we're a part of now. And it really is a member-led organization. So we have really good relationships with the team, and we're hosting the Digital Twin Consortium meeting for September again in Leeds, which is great and we're very happy with. And what we have is multiple working groups. So members can propose different working groups with challenges that they're working on, and that allows us to then work on it together. People that are interested join them. So think about, where I sit within responsible AI and digital governance and sustainable digital twins, but you also have manufacturing, you have data centers, you have healthcare, fintech. So all these areas that people are interested in. And it really is a case study approach. We have test beds. It's really about learning from each other, learning best practice, because we always say no digital twin is the same.
Exactly.
Which also makes it very prosperous to collaborate, because you're not competing. You're literally looking at these problems that can be unique, but the approaches can be similar, and you have to work with different organizations to try and understand these problems.
And all digital twins are equal, but some are more equal than others.
I would like to ask you, I was inspired by the work of the Center for Digital Britain and that National Digital Twin Information Framework. Do you still use it because it's the anthology? Or I remember that when I read that they had to go through some 1,200 technical norms to actually clarify the language to make it transparent. So one object is not designated in three names, otherwise it would not work. Do you have this, grounding now that, each digital twin is based on the same ontology?
Yes, so it's really interesting because a lot of the digital catapults work on digital twins, and what they use and how to structure it is based on the architecture and platform stack that was developed by the Digital Twin Consortium. So I'd be very bad if I didn't use that, but it really does provide that kind of
guidance,
which makes it manageable, especially for people that aren't used to looking at digital twins. If you come with, I want everything to be in my digital twin, it's almost if you don't have anything, it's an unattainable task. Whereas this type of ontology, this platform stack and architecture allows you to break it down into pieces and say, well, actually, what's most important now, and what do I have, and how can I use these building blocks to build that? And it allows for that almost, it's a translator. Because if you use the same ontology, if you use the same structure, it means that when something goes wrong, or when you're looking at filling in other gaps, the other people in the community understand where they can join in and how they can help you co-develop it. And that periodic table that we have, the platform stack, is very useful to support it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you represent, this stakeholder engagement ecosystem and the connecting function of it. What kind of stakeholders do engage? Just only entrepreneurs, or does it go further? Because digital twins might have many use cases, even for vulnerable people, for disadvantaged people. So, what is your community in this hub?
Well, I think we talk about intentional serendipity. So, creating an environment, a building, which has all the tools and resources that it needs in order to facilitate enabling people to get together and have the conversations that will lead to collaboration. So I think that's my clearly Dennis is the intellectual. I'm not in this room, but I have my uses, and it's being curious and actually understanding the very basics of what a digital twin can do and what the benefits and the values it can bring are, and then saying, well, actually, I know that person, and we were in Barcelona last year and we met this chap, and there was this person who gave this keynote. So it's getting around and having that understanding of very basic base level understanding of the technology and its applications, but then having the aptitude and the attitude towards bringing people together. That's what I feel like I bring to this conversation.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah,
and it's finding the people that can help you fill that puzzle. We've got a new digital twin we're building, which is SynthKid, which is based on looking at chronic kidney disease. So it will be a first of its kind, looking at synthetic patient data to build a digital twin on that for research that will help a lot of people in the world. And it allows us to work together with partners in both industry, but also with the Integrated Care Board in Yorkshire Number, with the hospitals, the trusts, to really make sure, Health Innovation Yorkshire Number, to really make sure that we're doing both a societal duty, but economic growth and innovation is interlinked with solving societal problems. They go hand in hand. Absolutely. It's a flywheel. And the more we acknowledge that and realize that by investing as a country into these companies, the more we can provide both economic growth as well as, a shared prosperity.
We suffered a lot from the COVID crisis, It was a test, but there was something positive from this. That from this triple access approach, we have this digital connectivity now, and we can reconnect. And then we can work on spatial proximity and use digital twins to secure our assets and to make them more stronger and resilient towards future stress. Because we are moving from just-in-time mentality to just-in-case mentality. And we will have less people and we might, for example, use digital connectivity to make vulnerable people, lives of vulnerable people more comfortable, 100%. And with less people to deliver more. So it's about the value creation, and this is what I found really interesting, because it's really the value creation, and through connectivity we can explore further areas. Your ideas about going forward, you've got your vision to be better in stakeholder engagement, and your vision about advancing digital twins in your cluster.
So I think I don't think you could underestimate the power of curiosity and the power of people and places. And if I had a magic wand and I mapped my future forward, it would be engaging in more events like this in Brno. Traveling more to Nashville. You're really trying to get to know the people who are the change makers in those places, and connecting them up with the people that have the same attitudes and the same aspirations in Leeds. Because they talk about collaboration being a contact sport. Collaboration, if you break the word down, it's col, which is to come together, and labore, which is to work, and that's really what the purpose of Nexus is. It's to bring people together into an environment where they can work together to solve real world problems. So that's what I would get my magic wand out. more trips to Brno.
No, I can only kind of echo that sentiment, because I think if I'm looking at what we're doing with the digital twin work and with using SRL, so society readiness, technology readiness, in order to scale and de-risk that innovation pathway to address problems, I'd like to do much more in digital twinning. So how can we increase the community? How can we collaborate with, for instance, with Brno, and see how we can look together at challenges we have, exchange that, and help, with knowledge exchange. And I think that's the beauty of the digital twinning again. You get to look at new areas, especially you mentioned risk management. It's such an important enabler to assess risk.
Absolutely.
You cannot underestimate how big of a tool this will be for government as soon as it becomes more and more
I just can comment on it. 2 years ago we had big floods, 4 billion euros, the invoice. And if we had climate resilience digital twin, we might learn more how to protect that area. And it's like, should we pay it another time? Should we wait? Until what time will we wait?
I think
so that the same wastewater treatment plant would be flooded for the 4th time, and taxpayers will pay for it. So that's clearly game changer. We need to bring it, because it's inevitable.
Yes,
it's the way how to protect our lives.
Yes, it's really nice you mentioned that, because you address both its biggest opportunity as well as its biggest challenge. The challenge of convincing people I compare it a lot to epidemiology, because preferably you have a system that operates on digital twins that's so good you don't hear about it. But to make that investment so that you don't hear about it is a difficult conversation, because I'm asking you to invest into a program or into a tool that then will prevent you from making a 4 billion euro mistake. But the problem is, because you then don't make that mistake anymore, it becomes very difficult to sometimes assess the value of a data-driven decision-making tool. And it is about, when people ask me, why should I get a digital twin? Very often what I use as an answer is, so you don't make a £2 million mistake. Because that is bound to happen if you don't have those insights.
And here's the thing, we're talking about flooding and the costs and the damage it causes to communities. We know very well that there's a company in Nexus that's doing some amazing innovation around flood prevention, collaboratively in partnership with the university, doing a knowledge transfer partnership, supported and enabled by Nexus.
But exactly for that reason.
And they're a globally focused company, and they've got people all over the world. So who knows? Maybe somebody listening to this podcast will want to work with Andel, and then we've made that connection just from being here. Haven't we?
Thank you for these connections, and we established a National Center for Mobility 4.0 last week. So I will be very happy, to speak with Dennis and you, how to explore it, because this is our task, to make that digital, transition happen and protect our lives. We see what is happening at the Persian Gulf, through. But if you do not measure, you do not manage. So it's plain, it's logic, it's common sense. So Very happy to explore it further. The last question to both of you: what did you find interesting here at URBIS, and how do you like to enjoy it for the rest of your stay here in the Czech Republic?
The last word or the first word?
You go.
I know what yours is, or I think I might know. But so this is my second visit to Brno. I came last year. I met Jakub from the municipality at the Smart Cities conference in Barcelona. He came to us. This is my second visit. I want to keep coming regularly, but I just find we've been made to feel very welcome here. I think there's some really amazing technology and companies that are down in the exhibition space here. I just want to keep coming back, keep learning more from Brno, and provide that reciprocal invitation for people to come to Leeds as well.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what I was going to say. You already mentioned a little bit what I like about Brno, which I didn't know before, is that I'm a logician. And only until I visited here did I realize that Gödel is from Brno. And Gödel, of course, an amazing and very famous logician. I think that anybody who is a philosopher of science and technology should be aware, and any mathematician should be aware of his thinking, because I use it a lot when I look at digital twins. And having been to Brno now for the first time, I was very impressed by the hospitality, by the knowledge, by the innovation that's taking place. And as Barry said, I'd very much like to come back frequently and see how we can collaborate more. We are sister cities. So I think we need to do more together and see how we can basically together improve on this knowledge base of digital twins, of smart city challenges, and hopefully present these things back as years go by.
Yeah, and we observe and we see the mass transit system here. There's a tram, it works. We caught it the other morning. We got here. It's really efficient, and that's something that our city leaders could definitely learn from.
Yes,
in the present moment.
It was a pure joy to talk with you. Thank you very much. We stay connected, definitely. And we need to get this elephant from the living room. Yeah, we need to get it to its right habitat. So complex things needs to be sorted out, and these smart people, connected, ethical, can make things better. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Looking forward to the next stay, and we might see each other in Barcelona again.
Yes, that'd be great.
Bye.
Dziękuję. Na zdraví.
Dear viewers, dear listeners, welcome to our next podcast. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome our distinguished guest from Germany. It is Oliver Rau from district Wunsiedel at the borders of Czechia, nearby Asch, Salps, as you say in Germany. And we will be talking about rural smart development, or smart rural development, which is connected with the ecosystem of smart Fichtelgebirge. So, Oliver, can you explain a little bit about you, about your institutions, and what you have already achieved?
Hello. First of all, thanks for having me. My name is Oliver Rau, as you said. I'm a project manager in the district of Wunsiedel. Wunsiedel is a small district in the north of Bavaria, as you said, border region to the Czech Republic. We are about 660 square kilometers in the Fichtel Mountains, and we have about 70,000 inhabitants. It's quite rural, so we have a lot to develop. We went through a major structural change by the decrease of the porcelain industry. So this caused a lot of problems, and we're trying to solve them now.
Okay, so we are part of some transition, that we also experience in Czechia and other regions, also close to Karlovy Vary and Ústí. I would like to ask you, why did you come to this idea, to create smart solution in a rural area like yours, because I would expect it to happen, in München or in Berlin, but why such a small district close to the border?
When you go through a major structural change, it's necessary to design the change and not to let the change design you. So it's I would say, necessary to develop your own ideas, to know how you can solve the problems and how you can design them. And so what you can do for the future, because when we let everything go, there will be no people in a few years, because it's quite elderly, through the structural change, which caused a major demographic change. So it's necessary to develop innovative ideas to make the city and the region more livable, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And when did it start? And actually, what were the first use cases you focused on?
We started in 2019. Before there have some solo ideas, I would say, but in 2019, the federal ministry in Germany released a big funding project. It's called the Model Project Smart Cities, with about 15 million of funding volume, with about 90% of funding. So that's quite a lot of money for our little district. So we decided to go for it. And then in 2019, the major we started with a big participation process in our region. We talked to all the people, to the companies, and to all the initiatives in the region. What are the main problems at the moment? And tried to develop some ideas how we can fix them. And this was about two years, and after that we had a big strategy, and then we have from 2021 till 2026 our project ends in July, so we are on the finish line, I would say.
Okay.
We developed 3 big projects. We tried to go a different path, because in Germany there are 73 model projects, and all of them do solo projects, and we said if we just do project by project, it will be very difficult when the funding ends and that they can go on. So we decided to build the infrastructure around this and create a basement, I would say, where we can go on even after the funding. So we built up infrastructure for sensors called LoRaWAN in our whole district. We built a data platform where we can add all the data from the sensors and even from the municipalities together, combine them. So we can get a lot of new ideas and can fix problems with real-based data, real-time data. That was one part. From this on, we could design a digital twin of our region. We are not done yet, but we are on a good way. And the second project was to build a rural lab. It's called the Fichtel Lab. It's a kind of a co-working and maker space. It should be like a living lab where we can enable the municipality, the people in the region, and the companies to learn about our projects, but to create a space where they can design their own projects. So we can't do everything by our own. We have to do it with the whole region. So we created this makerspace to give this whole thing a place where it can go on.
So this is actually a mobile application or digital application that it's like a connector, rural connector that people can connect each other. Yeah,
it's not an application. It's a real room in one city of our district. We went from one city to another with this room, but at the end, when the funding project ends, we will base this the room in Wunsiedel, in the next to our building where I work. So we have. So we can talk there with people, do some workshops. We have there about 3D printers. We work together with schools and do our own workshops. And we try to bring initiatives who work in the field of action of digitalization to this place, so we can bring them all together and do like an enabler in the region. Yeah.
I noticed that you have certain program or application called Navi. Yeah, it's. Can you describe what's the purpose of it and how it functions?
Yeah, Cult Navi. It's like an online platform for culture in the region. It's a platform where everyone who does something with culture can put his own profile there, so that the culture can connect to each other, and the people get to know what kind of culture you can see in the district. And there's also something like I would say eBay small announces. So you can maybe a theater group needs some equipment, and another initiative in the region has this kind of equipment, so they can change it. So we try to
It's like a German bazaar.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of a bazaar to help the culture in to develop in the region.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that there are other initiatives in Germany. Yeah, you mentioned some 73.
Yeah.
Similar projects. Are you somehow connected? Do you share your area? So is it you do it your own and you might call them, but there is no ecosystem, no matchmaking.
The whole project is supported by a coordination program. They do some workshops, some congresses for the 73, but it's also necessary. They also try to bring cities in this system who don't get the funding. It's that was a kind of idea behind the project, to build up 73 model project where every city in Germany and even further can learn from this, from the ideas we made, how we done them, and what even doesn't work in our program. Yeah.
Of course, Europe has a long history, but still we have borders. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you closely, border with the Czech Republic. Are there any common or joint up actions, with the Czech counterparts near Karlovy Vary, Až? Yeah. Are there any, activities that you also bring into this project?
Yeah, we talked a lot of with Karlovy Vary and other, because in Wunsiedel we have we are quite near to the border, so it's it would be what would I say? It would be it's definitely necessary to talk to each other, because in Czechia you have some new ideas and you don't need to develop everything new. So it's always necessary to talk to each other. What can we do together? And even we had some major parts with the catastrophe, emergency panic in the border region. So we talked and made some combined tests in the border region with the Kalahari region. So that's always necessary, and I would say there is we can do more. I would say.
Great. I would like to ask you. You mentioned that you like a connector, local connector.
Yeah.
How successful and what kind of cohorts of community are you already address? And what are still challenges? Just to understand what kind of networking you do. Entrepreneurs, different NGOs, etc.
Yeah.
How does it work in practice?
It's a hard work, I would say. You have to talk to a lot of people, and not everything works. And it's a kind of a slow process, I would say. But when you do it by time and you don't let go them, so it works. We, for example, with our Fichtel lab, we are working about 2 years, and now you can see that the other initiatives call us. They want to use our room, our equipment to do workshops together, but that cost us 2 years, I would say. 2 years marketing, 2 years communication to everyone. It's a long process. Yeah.
You started in 2019. So you got some 7-8 years. There was the COVID. That disrupted many efforts. But still, you are at the finish line. So, could you put into your shop window if you would like to show this is what you really achieved?
Yeah, I would say we are on the finish line of the funding project, but definitely not on the finish line of the whole process. We built up the infrastructure where we can go on. I would say that's really a good basement, the LoRaWAN infrastructure in the whole district, and the data platform where we can put everything together, where we can go on in the future, and that's the main goal we achieved. And also our Fichtel app, it's an application for citizens and tourists in the whole district and the whole Fichtel Mountains. That's one of our biggest projects, I would say. That was also our first project. We finished already in 2022, and I would say that it's possible to put this in the shopping window.
Fine, thank you. Going forward, what are your plans? Will you still be supported, or you now need to take it into your own hands, find your own resources, or is there any support from the regional or central government for your efforts?
It will be much more difficult, I would say, but every project will go on. We talked a lot with our administration, so we have the support of them, but of course every project needs money in the future, and money is less at the moment. So we try to go on, but it can be that some projects will have to end in few years, I would say, but I don't hope so. So I think we have a good basement at the moment. And for the future, we worked together with another company in Germany in the Pilot in Cities model project, which is led by the Czech Ministry of it's an Interact project, where you can put up some pilot projects in a short time with less money. So the German part decided to develop this project in our region, so we can try with this new methodology to bring a new way of work in the region, which makes it possible to build up small projects even with less money. So that's a main goal for the future, to do more such smaller projects and not the big ones. Yeah.
Great. The last question: what have you found interesting and inspiring here at URBIS, and what are your plans for the rest of your stay in Brno?
Yeah, it's really really inspiring and fascinating how much companies are here, how much ideas are presented, and I would say there are also the same fields of action addressed, but sometimes different ideas how to solve them. And for example, the drone technology is, I would say, in Germany we are a bit behind in this fields of action. When you look at the cities, there are only a few projects where drones are used, but here there are really good solutions, and I find it really inspiring. And for the rest of my stay, I will look at the city. I was on a run yesterday at the river. That was really beautiful, and I think I will do this again today or tomorrow.
Oliver, thank you very much. It was a very nice talk, good vibes, and we cover mostly those big cities, larger regions, and I appreciate very much that you want to bring this concept for 4.0 and digital into rural areas. And we have the common feature that we have also many agricultural settlements scattered across the country, and those people also deserve some new benefits which this new information society brings about, and these digital solutions. So thank you very much. Enjoy your stay here, and good luck in Wunsiedel.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, dear listeners, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome here Anniina Autero. It is the head of the development at the city of Tampere. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Lovely to be here.
Thank you. We had already several guests speaking about different subjects of smart cities development. We looked at the European ecosystem. We looked at the rural ecosystem. We looked how universities work together. Now let's focus on this urban level, and what's your role in the city of Tampere, and why the city of Tampere decided to focus on smart city concept?
Well, yeah, first of all, we've had really good fortune in the city of Tampere to have smart people. So always when there's smart and enthusiastic people, they will always find ways to sort of level up the work. So Tampere is committed to do data-driven work, so that our decisions and what we do, what we choose to do, is based on data. So the basis of our decisions and our work is based on data, and then analysis on where does the data come from. And we have an industrial background in the city of Tampere, so we've had engineers, we've had social scientists, and sort of this techno-socio combination in our area has been one of the advantages. How to add the knowledge knowledge and the smart people together. We have a lot of technology companies that are supporting us as a city to utilize the best possible solutions and technology for the purpose of the well-being of the people. So that is sort of the baseline of our work. We have the capabilities to do this together. We have the knowledge, we have the technology, and we have the people who have this sort of attitude that we can always do better. And it's also fun. Too. People like to do fun things. Me as a scholar, I always aspire for sort of a science base, so the scientifically studied base is kind of a healthier base for all the public work. But also the public-private partnership work for us has been one of the success factors, that we have low level to have the dialogue between our companies and with our experts in engineering field, social science, medical science, so that we've always believed that when there's less people, the more sort of a brighter elements we need to have, and the lower level of dialogue. So those are the elements that we have.
When did you start this journey, and what's the current governance structure? Because in my opinion, governance matters, because you need to have people to look after, to connect and also develop those technical capabilities. What's the history of this endeavor in Tampere?
So the biggest companies in the area, of course, are sort of the flagships and the drivers. Nokia has been one of the big companies that was established in our region, in our area, and that has, of course, affected on our smart city journey as well. That we've had the possibility to have educated people, and also this market that's testing the solutions and making it a business worth. So the government has supported us in a way, but I would say that it's more of a sort of this heritage that we've had in the area. So the industrial heritage, and also some historical elements too in the city. And Tampere, the city of Tampere has always had this open mind attitude for new elements to come. Of course, it's a public entity, but the people in the city have always had this great-minded executives who have been seeing the future and who have had the boldness to do the things together with the people and the company.
This is very much industry driven. Yeah, it was at the beginning, at least. Yeah. So, how many people work on making this happen in the city of Tampere?
The industrial work or the smart city work?
At the city council.
Well, we have a team now in the city of Tampere that is economic innovations and economic policy and innovation unit that specifically dedicates its people towards these topics and aspects. Earlier, we did it program-wise, that we had the Smart City program, we had the Data-Driven City for Citizens program, development program, and then earlier we had this e-Tampere program. So a couple of shifts in a row, we've had these development programs that the councils and the politicians supported. So they saw that this is a really important area where we need to develop our knowledge and our teams. So we've had also political support, which is of course fantastic to be able to do this on a higher level. But then I would say that the ecosystem logic works really well in the region. So the universities, the business companies, the public sector, and also now we have invited the residents and the environment.
With all these new and complex, technologies and concepts, you need to deal with 3 levels: political, technical, and stakeholder engagement. How do you earn political buy-in? You need to have, somebody who stands beyond you, behind you, to support you. That's viable. It's beneficial. It's adding value. So, what about the work with politicians?
True that. We've always had this discourse on quite critical discussions, quite critical political debates. For example, one example that we use is when we decided to have the tram in the city of Tampere. A few years back, our previous Prime Minister, Sanna Marin, was leading the council in Tampere, and we've had a really, really long debate. I think it lasted like 11 hours or something. That there were so many points against and for the tram in the city. So, and historically wise, we've had these really big arguments, but we have had the good fortune to have the attitude that we go to the same direction, even though there are sometimes conflicting interests and some people are not happy about all the details and the elements in, but we still see the benefits for the residents, so that we are able to negotiate and find the sort of the golden way to follow. So the political debate is really, really important, that we make it on a value base, we make it visible, and the residents have a right to.
I think this is the crucial thing, we live in the attention economy, and if you are not able to communicate what you do, it stands behind the scenes, it's not visible and it's not tangible then, so that's important.
It is. And I would still like to sort of highlight the importance of the critical discussions that it's even in the business sector. I remember when we were building our Nokia Arena, the brand new Nokia Arena that was taken in use before the Ice Hockey World Championship games in Tampere. We were thinking about the sponsorships for the arena, and there was a different company that was supposed to be the sponsor, and in the end it was Nokia. So now it's Nokia Arena. And I remember that the discussions in some of the groups where these sponsors were not in, they were quite heavy. And then we went through the discussions, and it's not even related to politics. It was related to the heavy contents and the business life discussions, and people were arguing. But in the end of the day, we still need to keep the dialogue, even though we argue, because that's, as you said nicely, that's the sort of the success factor for any sort of development work.
And what are your flagship projects or visible, tangible, smart cities which every, visitor or resident can view each day?
Yeah. So in the data-driven City for Citizens program that actually ended last year, I had the good fortune to run this flagship called Safe Pedestrian City, where we were building pedestrian areas for the residents, so that we were, after COVID, trying to invite people to use the public space, to have the interaction between each others and the city, and also walk, which is healthy, and get the fresh air. That has been one work where we have utilized digital twins. So the digital twins have offered us the great possibility to actually walk inside the DigiTwins, even we haven't started the construction phase yet. So we chose the biggest construction work we've ever had in the city of Tampere, the Station District. It's going to be built next to Nokia Arena. It's a huge area where there's going to be a public space and also residential buildings, office buildings, and we're also renovating the railway station. So there's going to be 10,000 more people, 1.5 billion euro investments in the area. And we built the DigiTwin of the public space and invited people to come and walk inside the DigiTwin to get their experience on the safety of the area, the reachability, the environmental aspects, also what sort of services can we offer. And we got really encouraging feedback from the people. And we are able to utilize this data and this feedback in the planning phase. And we can also save resources and get better end results. So that has been nice.
Is the way how we can extricate better results, impacts, and outcomes for society. It has a social value. It's not just, some, test bed for some technical solutions. It has some real social benefits. I know that Škoda Transportation also is somehow embedded in Tampere. Can you outline what's the role and the project which is currently being deployed in Tampere?
Yeah, so the Skoda offers us the tram, and the tram line is really, really crucial in the city center to be able to move from one point to the other. And now we are even expanding the railways, the tram network, which is great. And specifically when we have venues in Nokia Arena, people can use the same ticket to Nokia Arena in the public transportation, so also in trams. And we've had this living lab experience together with the tram, and Skoda has been our partner in the living lab, that we actually have a tram cart that operates around the city, and it's called Lyli. All the tram carts are named with they have their own names, so we can test different elements in the Lyli Living Lab. So our scholars have been utilizing this great possibility, and it's actually it's an operative tram that goes through the city, and then you can have different settings in the cart to test.
When I was preparing for this podcast, I noticed that you focus on security and safety, and how digital twins and digital data management can help us to manage those disruptions, actually, for local residents. Visitors view it in a different way, but how this could be a viable and beneficial area which could bring real results in terms of accommodating different interests of different stakeholders. If you can outline what's your, because I know you are a researcher, innovator in this field, so if you can give us, some glimpses from this field.
Yeah, thanks. So we've had the good fortune to get resources from the European Commission, and we had the Smart Urban Security and Event Resilience project that I was leading. There was Nokia, there was Insta Group for the security company from the area, Tampere University, Tampere Applied Science University, Baltic Institute of Finland, and Securitas as a security provider. So we focused specifically in the public space areas in the city center that are the sort of the heart of the cities that people have a right to use, and all people have a right to use. And we asked the people what are the areas that they feel uncomfortable with, and then we looked into these areas that why do people feel that they are uncomfortable in the area. Usually they are the busiest areas, so there's some disruptions in the busiest areas, but there may be also something in inside of the areas that we should look a bit more deeper in. The venues are really important for the city and also for the modern cities, that we invite people to come to the city center, and it's sort of the parade area to show the city center, like the beautiful Brno. And then we wanted people, when they, for example, go to venues, they can go to Nokia Arena, and Nokia Arena was one of our sort of cases in the short project, and also a music festival called Blockfest, where we got a lot of feedback that there's disruptions. It's meant for young people, and it's important that the young people have a chance to meet. It's a rap music festival, and then we were thinking that how can we build the public space so that people feel that it's not just being safe, it's also the sense of security, that we trust that the area is secure, and we trust that we can let our kids go to the rap music festival, or people can go to Nokia Arena, and there's like traffic flows, people and traffic flows that may disrupt the residents. So we tested this situation awareness platform that was built by Insta Group, and then this shared situation awareness is the success factor in security work. That we do have the same understanding between different stakeholders in security, and usually the ones who produce the security in venues are the security companies. So the private sector companies who may not have access to the systems that the authorities have. So we tested this model. We utilized the sensors that we have in the city, put some more sensors, meaning the city cameras, and we were trying to really carefully embed into the city infrastructure in a way that people don't feel that they are monitored and controlled. That's really important, because if you don't feel that you feel comfortable, then you don't enjoy the venues, and then you don't go there. So it's really important how you design it inside the city. And then we chose two critical, huge venues. So one was the Ice Hockey World Championships Games 2022 for the first time, 23 for the second time. And we exercised with digital twins with our safety and security experts and the authorities who produce the safety and security with specific scenarios, threat scenarios. And we also tested the situational awareness platform, that how can it actually support the leadership of security in these venues. And we got really encouraging feedback.
I think this is very interesting because actually we can get more from people about the social behavior, but we need to understand their sentiments, their impressions, and guide them. And these digital twins can indicate them that certain things are not going as usual. And in that case, I think, is there any chance to utilize these concepts in such phenomena like over-tourism? Is there anything how this could be somehow used to solve the existing problems? Because Prague is very much loved by tourists, but I remember it was difficult sometimes to go through some attractive areas, and people are going this way, that way. There are some cars, and it's not a good experience. And we want to experience our free time, and also there are residents living there. So, is there any are there any developments in this respect?
Yeah, so we are the capital of smart tourism at the moment, the city of Tampere. So we are really proud of that. We, of course, try to serve our tourists with the best possible ways. And you've had the success in Czech to invite people, and they love your country and they love your city. So they come here, and you have this really great certain central position in Europe as well. So the situational awareness platform is really nice in a sense that you can also utilize it for the traffic and people and traffic flows. So whenever the people and traffic flows are smooth, that's when people feel comfortable, and they don't get cranky or angry or the bad feelings that people may have. So you need to make the city as smooth as possible for the people who can move there. And the situational awareness platform can give alarms that it looks like there's going to be a traffic jam, and in the security world it can show you that there may be some disruptive behavior in crowds. People may get angry, they may start fighting, they may carry something that we don't want them to carry in public spaces. So it can support the sort of smoothness in the city center. So we highly recommend that. And our artificial intelligence can offer tremendous possibilities to help our city officials to enable people to use the public space with the best possible way so that they can enjoy the areas. The residents are sort of great sensors, I would say, that when they are angry, then we are doing something wrong. So in case they get mad that there's too many tourists or it's hard to live in the city center, that's when we need to think of how can we do it differently. And then this urban sprawl is really important, that we think of how do we blend in different people and different groups, and sort of that there's space for everyone, that we, even the seniors and the young people and the children, the families, the ones who are in a vulnerable position, they do have a right to use the space and also right to enjoy their lives there. So how do we build it in a way that it's a comfortable space for everyone, including the tourists that may want to see that, there's a lovely architecture and buildings there, and we want to see this, and we want to randomly see something that wasn't planned beforehand. So these digital elements can support the smoothness of the traffic.
They may navigate,
They may navigate, but it's also about I would say that the housing for the residents is also an important thing, that the house prices may go really high in case the areas are really requested. So the politicians and the decision makers, they need to be aware of this. And we have started working with one initiative in EU, in the EU Cities Gateway for this affordable, attainable housing question. So that's also one area. And that there's a lot of data possibilities working on with these topics.
I know that you are also a researcher working or teaching at the University of Denver in Colorado, University of Denver.
Yeah, so I did. I've done some scholarly work in UCD Denver and also Stanford University, the Scandinavian Consortium for Organizational Research, where we have focused. My main focus is resilience and security and how organizations can develop their models fit better to these topics. So the scholarly work helps a lot to understand the problems. Yeah, that we can really go deep with the problems, but the scholars usually get in love with the problems. So you need to get out from the problems and also start building on the real-time solutions. So that's why it's been really fantastic to have this ecosystem that we actually need to provide the services for the residents and utilize the problem thinking with the academics, that we can focus to the right elements in our solutions.
Taking into consideration the state of play in Tampere, what are your plans going forward? What's your vision? You know, because we need to look forward as well.
Well, I'm a really enthusiastic developer and a scholar, so we are aiming for the sort of the next level. So this future city lab is something that we are planning for the next stage. That we would have a future lab where we can test and experiment different solutions for the urban environment and also with the business life, so that they can get advantages out of the R&D possibilities, which is quite expensive, doesn't necessarily give income right away. So the Future City Lab is something that we are really eagerly doing in collaboration with different companies. So that's in our vision, and hopefully in the next phase we will have it, and we have great partners. So I believe that there would be some inspiration that we could also do with the Czech partners, and Skoda and the Luli Living Lab has shown that it's a great possibility. So yeah, that's on the list.
What have you found thought-provoking here? Communication and some experience from Brno and URBIS, and what are your plans for the rest of your stay here?
Yeah, thanks. So Brno, first of all, is a really beautiful city. It's my first time actually here. I have been waiting for the time to get here, and now it's my momentum and the right time. And URBIS has also showed the spirit that I think we are sharing sort of the same ambition level. The
size is similar?
And Tampere. Yes, and the thinking is similar. So we are sharing a mindset that we do want to go forward. We want to be bright. We want to take the next level. And I believe that there's a great possibilities to collaborate together. That's something that I've found from URBIS and Brno. And I'm really grateful for the possibility to be here.
We have covered a lot. Thank you very much. It was really interesting, and congratulations to Finland on winning the last World Ice Hockey Championship. Next time we will win, of course.
Thank you so much.
and really enjoyed the stay here. And I hope that we have not seen each other for the last time. And it was my pleasure with my elephant to move things a little bit from the living room, to put it into the right habitat, because complex things needs bright minds and open-mindedness. And thank you that we had very pleasant talk and good vibes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Dobrý den, naším dalším hostem je pan Erich Beneš, ředitel kanceláře Svazku obcí metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace České republiky. Dobrý den.
Dobrý den.
A budeme mluvit o tom, proč se rozvoj měst už dávno nedá plánovat jen v hranicích jedné obce, ale vyžaduje spolupráci celých aglomerací anebo vůbec jako konceptu metropolitních oblastí. A já začnu úplně osobně. Dlouhodobě se pohybujete na pomezí městského rozvoje, evropských projektů a metropolitní spolupráce. Kdy jste si poprvé uvědomil, že rozvoj města nelze plánovat pouze v jeho hranicích?
No, taky už jsem pamětníkem, takže ono se to vlastně vyvíjí. Je to od doby, kdy jsme se stali členy Evropské unie a já jsem se začal zabývat dotacemi, konkrétně to bylo ve městě Plzni, kde jsem vlastně 20 let dělal šéfa organizace, která se čerpáním evropských fondů jako zabývala. Takže v té době, kdy jsme začali schánět nějaké zdroje na projekty města, tak se ukazovalo, že není možné vlastně se koukat na to pouze tou optikou toho daného města, ale že se musíme začít zabývat i dalšími věcmi. Jeden z prvních integrovaných projektů u nás třeba byla kooperace mezi Západočeskou univerzitou, městem Plzeň, které zajišťovalo v rámci toho integrovaného projektu vybudování tramvajové trati a i třeba ministerstvem pro místní rozvoj, kde jsme se zabývali prostě nějakým zlepšením okolního prostranství té Západočeské univerzity. A když to plánujete, tak to není projekt města Plzně jako takový, ale máte tam spoustu subjektů. Západočeská univerzita určitě není organizace, která slouží jenom obyvatelům města Plzně, ale musíte se kouknout na dojížďku, na dopravní obslužnost, na zázemí pro ty studenty. Takže v této chvíli, nebo v té chvíli jsem si možná uvědomil, že ta optika musí být určitě širší, než je to jednotlivé město.
Když hovoříme o městské aglomeraci anebo metropolitní oblasti, je to vlastně jenom velké město a jeho užší nebo širší okolí, anebo to představuje i něco hlubšího, než jenom administrativní nebo geografické rozčlenění toho území?
Tam je hrozně důležité, co si pod tím termínem, technikem, jako co si představíte, protože vlastně aglomerace, to je věc, kterou se zabývají geografové už hrozně dlouho. A teďka to vymezení je velmi specifické. Když se prvně na to začínalo nahlížet vlastně z té pozice národní, tak probíhala nějaká diskuze mezi MMR a námi, jak to vymezit. My jsme měli samozřejmě nějaké přirozené hranice, partnery v tom území, se kterými jsme diskutovali a se kterými jsme řešili ty věci, ale nakonec zvítězilo možná trochu technokratická věc, kdy Ministerstvo pro místní rozvoj zadalo vlastně projekt Univerzitě Karlově, aby ty metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace vymezilo. A dělalo se to vlastně na základě dojížďky za prací, dojížďky do škol, nějakých komunikací mezi tím územím jako takovým a nějakou tou přirozenou spádovostí.
Docela tématem, které čas od času zaznívá i ve veřejném prostoru, je určitá specifičnost českého prostředí. My máme velmi rozdrobenou sídelní strukturu, teďka se nechci plést, 5400 nebo 5600 obcí zhruba.
Přidejte ještě 1000.
6000, dobře. A velmi silnou roli samospráv, ale zároveň řešíme problémy, které jako nerespektují tu naši administrativní hranice. V čem jsou vlastně naše největší problémy a specifika?
Vy jste to pomenoval. Tohle je prostě historicky dané. Muselo by dojít k nějakému radikálnímu řezu, aby se tohleto změnilo, protože ve světě to není úplně obvyklé, tahleta institucionalizace, jako máme v České republice. Ale prostě takhle to je a my se s tím musíme poprat. A ta naše organizace nemá za úkol vyřešit ten problém, ale máme se vlastně zabývat tím přirozeným vývojem nebo přirozenou systémem, který to řeší. Ty metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace vznikly vlastně na základě nějaké jednak poptávky z toho území, ale samozřejmě vznikly i vlastně tím, že ty zkušenosti v západní Evropě byly a i ve spolupráci právě s Evropskou unií se podařilo pro období 2014 až 2021 vypsat dotace na ITI, což jsou integrované teritoriální investice, a to jsou vlastně peníze, které by měly sloužit a řešit ty problémy nějakého širšího území, ne jenom toho konkrétního jednoho celku. A ve chvíli, kdy se to začalo de facto institucionalizovat, tak začaly vznikat ty aglomerace, metropolitní oblasti v nějakých konkrétních řešeních, no a začala probíhat i vlastně nějaká diskuze v rámci těch území.
A co byste řekl našim posluchačům, kdyby měli, nebo kdybyste chtěl, aby pochopili, že pro budoucnost je skutečně jako nejdůležitější metropolitní anebo spolupráce v aglomeracích, než jako hledění si toho vlastního písečku?
Některé problémy nevyřešíte vlastně v rámci jednoho města, jednoho území, ať už je to, řeknu, dojížďka za prací, nějaká organizace dopravy, ať už je to nějaká komunikace v rámci školství, vzdělávání, zaměření na nějaké odborné věci. Nemůže mít každá obec svoji výzkumnou instituci, ale jsou prostě věci, které se musí řešit společně a jedna z možností je to řešit v rámci toho přirozeného území, který vzniká okolo všech větších center a který řeší prostě tyhle společné problematiky, řeknu, historicky jednoduše.
V celku moderním tématem jsou v podstatě chytrá města nebo smart cities. Je tento koncept uchopitelný i v rámci metropolitních nebo aglomerací nebo vůbec politiky jako metropolitních oblastí?
Určitě.
Případně jak?
Můžu říct úplně konkrétní příklady, protože to je vlastně z jednoho z témat, který jsme řešili nedávno. Byli jsme tady na návštěvě zástupce DG Regio, což jsou zástupci Evropské komise pro Českou republiku, konkrétně pro oblast dopravy, a navštěvovali jsme ty naše jednotlivé aglomerace a bavili jsme se o těch projektech. A jeden z dotačních titulů, který vypisuje Ministerstvo dopravy, je ITS, což je vlastně nějaké chytré řízení dopravních systémů. A ty dopravní systémy, aby se dali řídit, tak potřebují data. A nemůžou být to jenom data vlastně z konkrétní křižovatky, ale musíte vlastně plánovat, musíte připravovat ten systém na to, aby byla průjezdnost. Byli jsme třeba v Mladé Boleslavi, která je velmi specifická a kde to automobilové zatížení je enormní a oni musí řešit prostě ty špičky, a aby se jim každý den neucpalo město, tak je třeba vlastně tyhle ty věci se na ně podívat z toho širšího hlediska, z toho plánování, z toho řízení dopravy. A tyhle ty systémy si právě města a obce uvědomují, nebo ten problém si uvědomují všude, a i proto se ty systémy vlastně do těch měst zavádí a v tomto programovém období se utratí prakticky jenom z tohoto konkrétního dotačního zdroje cca 2 miliardy korun na tuhletu oblast.
Když hovoříme o chytrých městech nebo smart cities, řada posluchačů si představí, řekl bych v tom nejhorším případě, chytrou lavičku, respektive lavičku s dobíjením na mobil. V lepším případě senzory, parkovací systémy nebo dohled nad parkovacími systémy. Jak vnímáte smart city a i v těch širších souvislostech, dejme tomu smart metropolitní oblast, jak to vnímáte vy?
Vy jste se trefil, teďka tady byla prezentace vlastně Ministerstva pro místní rozvoj, které pan ředitel Schneider a pan ředitel Papeš o tom mluvili a použili ten konkrétní případ s tou chytrou lavičkou úplně jako průzračný. Všichni si to představují právě tou chytrou lavičkou a je na ministerstvu, aby ten pohled se změnilo. Ta naše organizace nemá za cíl vlastně propagovat jenom smart města. My se samozřejmě zabýváme právě komunikací uvnitř těch metropolitních oblastí a aglomerací, ať už je to s odbornou veřejností nebo s městy a obcemi, které jsou v tom území. Ale samozřejmě, že řešíme i ta témata a v této chvíli se vlastně připravuje nové programové období, které by mělo nastartovat po roce 2028 a ty jednotlivé MOA připravují vlastně svoje koncepce, strategie, kde ty věci budou chtít nějakým způsobem popsat a řešit.
MOA jsou metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace.
Ano, přesně tak. Používám zkratky, omlouvám se.
Nic se neděje. Vy jste to tady už zmínil, v podstatě jako jeden z hlavních mechanismů rozvoje metropolitních oblastí je popisován nástroj ITI. Můžete nám nebo našim posluchačům vysvětlit vlastně, co to je za nástroj, jako v čem spočívá a pro koho je dosažitelný nebo pro koho je určený?
Tak říkám, je to nástroj, který nevymyslela Česká republika, je to nástroj, který dlouhodobě je prezentovaný a podporovaný právě především v západní Evropě, ale i východní Evropa se tomu velmi, velmi přibližuje a velmi rychle se to naučila řešit. Ten princip je velmi jednoduchý. Je důležité, aby peníze, které jsou vynakládány z veřejných zdrojů, nebyly utráceny na jednotlivosti, ale aby měly nějaký širší dopad. A proto je důležité, aby když se ty peníze plánují a utrácí, tak to bylo na základě nějaké koncepce. A to jsou právě ty strategie ITI v těch jednotlivých metropolitních oblastech a aglomeracích, které se připraví a které by měly definovat tu provázanost a tu přidanou hodnotu vlastně těch investic. To znamená, když budeme dělat třeba někde tramvajovou trať, tak je důležité, aby k tomu třeba byly přestupní terminály, jako aby se k té trati dostali, aby třeba na konečných byly parkoviště pro kola, aby tam byl vlastně řešený problém té poslední míle, jak se říká, nebo ty další řešení. Takže aby ty věci, které se plánují a které se financují, nebyly ty jednotlivosti jako jedna konkrétní ta zprofanovaná lavička v parku s nabíjením na telefon, solární, ale aby to byly investice, které se budou doplňovat a které budou vlastně zvyšovat kvalitu života v těch metropolitních oblastech a aglomeracích.
Vy jste možná teďka pojmenoval, a omlouvám se, je to moje spekulace, jeden z takových jako velkých problémů, kterým řešíme, protože pokud se nepletu, tak Nejvyšší kontrolní úřad v jedné ze svých posledních zpráv právě kritizoval to, že veřejné prostředky se utrácí za jednotlivosti nebo dílčí řešení bez nějaké komplexity. Jak to vnímáte na svazu? Skutečně jakoby je to problém, je potřeba to řešit?
Je to problém, ale není to vůbec jednoduché. Protože když vy si zpracujete vlastně tu strategii a ten nápad, tu vizi, kterou byste chtěli vlastně prosadit, tak vůbec nemáte jako jistotu, že se podaří všechny ty nápady prosadit. Víte, že plánujete na 7 let, jakože se plánuje na ty 7letky, co je ještě víc, než bylo v socialismu, tam byly 5letky. Takže vy musíte mít velké vize a teďka nějaké stabilní věci a teďka do toho přichází různé krize, ať už to byla covidová, teďka válka na Ukrajině. Takže za mě vůbec není jednoduché vlastně té velmi jednoduché myšlence dostat. Ale samozřejmě je to jedna z věcí, které se snažíme dělat. A myslím si, že právě vznik těch ITI nebo toho nástroje a toho, jak se ty jednotlivé metropole nebo ty centra k tomu postavily a vznik těch metropolitních oblastí a aglomerací tomu nahrává. A samozřejmě to není proces, který se dá udělat za 14 dní. Tam ta komunikace vzniká, musíme se ji naučit a je pořád vždycky co zlepšovat.
A když tedy hovoříme o integrovaných systémech financování anebo spolupráci v rámci metropolitních oblastí aglomerací. Čím se měří v podstatě úspěšnost té metropolitní oblasti nebo aglomerace? Výší investic, úrovní spolupráce mezi jednotlivými aktéry, kvalitou života nebo environmentálními aspekty, nebo je to kombinace všeho? Jak vlastně posuzujete úspěch metropolitní oblasti?
Úspěch úspěch se měří vždycky velmi obtížně a ani není to na nás, aby jsme to posuzovali, protože to musí říct ty uživatelé nebo ty lidé, kteří v těch oblastech žijí. Ale ono se to nedá jako posoudit z hlediska jednoho nějakého parametru, který jsme exaktně změřili. Z druhé strany ty data nejsou vůbec, jak bych řekl, takhle, data musíme mít, nejsou špatná. My i proto vzniknul vlastně ten náš svazek a ta komunikace, která probíhá teda nejenom na úrovni těch jednotlivých metropolitních oblastí a aglomerací, kdy se bude bavit třeba Plzeň se svým zázemím a s těma cca 120 obcema, které jsou na území vymezeném vlastně tou plzeňskou aglomerací, nebo to můžou být i polycentrický vlastně ty oblasti, které jsou třeba Ostravsko, kde je několik statutárních měst dohromady a taky spousta obcí. Takže my jsme dospěli i právě k tomu, že není možné se bavit jenom na úrovni těch jednotlivostí, ale že je potřeba komunikovat i napříč. Přestože ty parametry nebo ty podmínky jsou diametrálně odlišní. Nemůžete srovnávat karlovarskou aglomeraci s pražskou nebo brněnskou metropolitní oblastí, protože ty problémy jsou diametrálně odlišné. Ten systém je sice stejný, ale ty problémy a ty problematiky, které jsou řešený, jsou prostě jiné. Ale prostě ty představitelé především těch nositelů, což jsou ty statutární města, si uvědomili, že je důležité si vyměňovat informace, vyměňovat si zkušenosti, vyměňovat si data a i proto vznikla tam vlastně naše organizace, která právě zastřešuje všechny ty organizace, což je 13 vlastně těch metropolitních oblastí aglomerací v rámci České republiky.
V České republice si myslím čelíme problému, který by se dal nazvat problém centrum periferie, kdy skutečně jako dochází k vylidňování těch periferií, k úbytku jako pracovních příležitostí, s tím možná i k poklesu životní nebo kvality života, životní úrovně. A v praxi se setkáváme s tím, že se omezují, dejme tomu, i dopravní spoje, omezují se služby typu pošta nebo i obchodní jako, zastoupení nebo možnosti jako nákupů. Přemýšlíte v konceptu těch metropolitních anebo aglomerace i o řešení tohoto problému?
Je pravda, že součástí naší organizace jsou vlastně části České republiky, kde to je velmi, velmi akutní. Ať už je to, říkám, to Karlovarsko nebo severní Čechy, ty vlastně postižené regiony, které v této chvíli čerpali vlastně z programu vlastně spravedlivé transformace a kde ta problematika je velmi, velmi zásadní. A my si to uvědomujeme a snažíme se to samozřejmě nějakým způsobem řešit a je součástí právě těch jednotlivých integrovaných plánů, třeba na těch územích, aby se pokusili, protože samozřejmě my nebudeme jediní, kteří to dokážou během chvilky vyřešit, ale určitě se musíme zabývat i těma záležitostma a i ty jejich integrované plány jsou třeba právě řešený na tu problematiku. Ale myslíme si, že právě zlepšením komunikací, dopravy, i třeba internetové dostupnosti, nějaký propojení a tak se nám může podařit, že nebudou muset všichni cestovat a stěhovat se, ale že můžou zůstat vlastně na těch periferiích a můžou vlastně pracovat z domova a nebo nějakým způsobem komunikovat a nestěhovat se všichni do těch měst. Přesto říkám, že ty metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace nejsou prioritně jako určené na řešení těchto problémů jako takových, ale můžete se na to podívat, že jsou to vlastně ty póly růstu, ty centra excelence v rámci České republiky a já tady nechci říkat čísla, můžete si to najít na našich webových stránkách, ale v těchto metropolitních oblastech aglomerací vzniká většina HDP, vzniká ta přidaná hodnota a i ta konkurenceschopnost, kterými jsme se chtěli dostat do nějaký konkurenceschopnosti se západní Evropou, s tím vyspělým světem. A i proto jdeme touhletou cestou a budeme se snažit samozřejmě prosazovat především ty novátorské myšlenky a tu přidanou hodnotu, neřešit úplně nebo neřešíme úplně ty základní věci, ale snažíme se vlastně se stát konkurenceschopným vůči tomu západnímu světu.
A jaké projekty podle vás v současné době mají jako největší efekt? Jsou v podstatě takovéto nízkorostoucí ovoce, kdy něco uděláte a vidíte hned, že se zlepšila kvalita života. V době, řekl bych, posttransformační se řešilo téma brownfieldů třeba, že jo? Kde možná ještě dnes se řeší, já nevím, ale tam ten efekt byl jako velmi rychlý a zřejmý. Jaké témata nebo jaké typy projektů jsou to jako v současné době? Je to prostě třeba dopravní obslužnost, zkrácení jako přepravních nebo zlepšení těch dopravních možností, dostupnost služeb nebo prostě snížení emisí, nebo jaké projekty vidíte v tuto chvíli jsou tou největší přidanou hodnotou?
Zase záleží na prismatu, jak to budete posuzovat. Jestli to je z prismatu peněz, jestli to je z prismatu spokojenosti života, přínosu k životnímu prostředí. Opravdu bude záležet na té metrice, kterou byste to chtěl posuzovat, takže zase nedá se odpovědět jednoznačně a exaktně, že tohle to je úplně nejlepší a podle toho se to dá měřit. Ale dovedu si představit, že se dostáváme z řešení prostě těch základních věcí, jako jsou vodovody a kanalizace, už k té přidané hodnotě, jako je energetika, jako je životní prostředí, doprava, kde se ty věci zlepšujou, síťujou, veřejná doprava, dopravní systémy, dopravní obslužnost.
Když byste měl vybrat, nechte nás nakouknout trochu pod sukně, kdybyste měl vybrat jeden z projektů, který za vás je skutečně jako se povedl a má velmi dobré výstupy a zlepšuje kvalitu života a obyvatel v té oblasti.
Já budu mluvit ani ne za sebe, ale mám konkrétní příklad z té oblasti, kde jsem působil a není to můj projekt, je to projekt kolegů z města Plzně. A tam oni dlouhodobě se zaměřili na věc, kdy před několika lety to moc nevypadalo jako nějaký úspěšný nebo že nějaký zásadní myšlenka, to je podpora třeba technického vzdělávání, podpora vlastně vzdělávání mládeže, ale i učitelů, protože se ukázalo, že vlastně nemá ty technický předměty, kdo učit, takže kolegové se na to podívali z toho hlediska, kdy udělali nějaký kurzy pro učitele, začali jim vysvětlovat, jak se učí robotika, jakým způsobem se dá moderně mluvit o počítačové gramotnosti a dalších věcech. No a z velmi, řeknu, skromných poměrů vznikla nebo teďka chlouba, kdy Plzeň je jedním z centrem vlastně jak robotiky, tak centrum třeba dronů, vzdělávání. Je tam spousta startupů, které vznikly vlastně na základě toho, že se začaly učit nebo podporovat tahleta záležitost na základních školách, potom to předešlo do středních škol, potom se navázala spolupráce se Západočeskou univerzitou, vzniknul tam teďka vědecko-technický park, který je zaměřený vlastně na tuhletu oblast, takže je to postupně budovaný dlouhodobý vlastně projekt, který zpočátku nevypadal, ale může změnit vlastně vůbec uvažování nebo roli toho území. Přestáváme být montovnou a stáváme se vlastně uživateli nějakých větších přidaných technologií a dalších pozitiv a benefitů, který z toho vlastně plynou.
Ono v podstatě, když vznikne moderní hub, průmyslový, vědecký, je to úplně jedno, tak přiláká i jako perspektivní mladé mozky, když to tak řeknu. No a to už samo o sobě vede eskaluje prostě ten další rozvoj. Když hovoříme o rozvoji metropolitních oblastí aglomerací anebo tom konceptu Smart City, hodně těch věcí by mělo být postaveno na datech. Mají v současnosti města dostatek jako dat, na kterých můžou nějaké koncepce stavět? A možná ještě podotázka, mají-li je, umí s nimi pracovat? Nebo se plánuje prostě na základě historických domněnek a nějakých úvah, která nejsou ale podloženy daty?
To je velmi zásadní a my jsme si to uvědomili, že je potřeba vlastně s daty pracovat a pokud je dokážeme zpracovat a pokud dokážeme je porovnat a pokud z nich dokážeme číst, tak to bude sloužit vždycky jako k podpoře vlastně toho našeho plánování jako takového. A s kolegy z ostatních ITI už jsme vlastně v minulém roce se dohodli na společném projektu, který zaštítilo právě město Brno a který v této chvíli úspěšně realizuje, kde se snažíme data z těch našich oblastí vlastně shromažďovat, porovnávat, vyhodnocovat a na základě nich se potom rozhodovat a na základě tohoto poskytovat tím jednotlivým MOA k tomu, aby dokázali vlastně plánovat do budoucna a aby měli o co se opřít, aby to nebyly ty rozhodnutí jako takový ad hoc od stolu bez znalosti, ale aby to bylo podložené nějakýma konkrétníma skutečnostma a datama.
Takže data jsou, když to tak řeknu.
Dat není nikdy dost. Data jsou důležitá, nějaká máme, nějaká sbíráme a určitě budeme v tom pokračovat.
A jak se v praxi využívají? A teď nechci být konkrétní, ale dejme tomu třeba i na úrovni krajských měst. Skutečně už ta samospráva jako aktivně vyhodnocuje data, která má k dispozici a zahrnuje do svých úvah a plánování?
Já pevně doufám, že ano, protože třeba v oblasti té mobility to ani jinak nejde. V téhleté chvíli všechny města, které jsou nositeli toho nástroje ITI, musí mít zpracovaný plán udržitelné mobility, které jsou postaveny na datech. To nejsou žádný abstraktní rozhodnutí, že bychom chtěli dělat tady chodník, tady něco jiného. Tam je to o tom, že musíte mít ty projekty podložené konkrétními daty. A tam se pracuje s dojížďkou, s intenzitou veřejné dopravy, i třeba s cyklistickou dopravou a ty věci se provazujou a na základě toho se vlastně dělají takové, jak bych řekl, karty těch jednotlivých projektů, které se potom naplňují konkrétními projekty a tam to vidíte velmi exaktně problém, který se definuje na datech a který vlastně navrhuje nějaké řešení a když se to udělá, tak se to zase dokáže vlastně právě docela exaktně změřit a říct, jako jestli jsme byli nebo nebyli úspěšní.
Teď jste se zmínil o dopravě, ta samozřejmě asi dopravní data jsou velmi důležitá. Řekl bych, že takovým jako typickým problémem českých aglomerací anebo oblastí je, že člověk žije v jedné obci, pracuje v jiné obci a služby čerpá ještě jako v další obci. A jenom abych to přiblížil, někde bydlím, někam jezdím do práce a děti někam jinam chodí na kroužky a do školy. Jak tohle je jakoby rozšířený a závažný problém a jak se nám ho daří řešit?
No, vy jste se dotknul ty dopravy, pro nás je to jednoduchý, protože tam ta data jsou exaktní, ale když uděláte nějaké veřejné prostranství, tak změřte, jako o co se zlepšilo životní prostředí, když uděláte prostě ozelenění nějakého náměstí nebo prostě lepší propustnost a zasákavost vody, tak to jsou potom takové složitější věci na to vyhodnocení z hlediska těch dat. Ale k té vaší otázce, to je naprosto běžný a v téhleté chvíli a v naší společnosti se s tím musíme prostě umět popasovat. A i ty projekty nebo to, co vlastně děláme v těch jednotlivých metropolitních oblastech a aglomeracích, tak se snaží prostě ty důsledky možná tohletoho chování těch lidí jako nějakým způsobem řešit a zpříjemnit tomu, anebo možná i nastavit to tak, aby to dělat nemuseli.
Jakou roli podle vás mohou aglomerace hrát v energetice? To je velmi důležitá a diskutovaná část našeho života. Nejenom to, co lidé vidí každý měsíc na účtenkách nebo na složenkách, ale i jako v tom managementu. To znamená chytrá spotřeba, komunitní energetika, případně prvky, které mohou pomoci stabilitě anebo vyvažování té energetické soustavy. Pracuje metropolitní politika jako s touto oblastí a jakou formou?
No, nejenom lidé platí složenky, ale i obce platí složenky, takže určitě tohleto je téma, který musí řešit, aby stali se konkurenceschopným nebo si ušetřili peníze na nějaké věci, které nejsou přímo vázané třeba s energetikou, ale jsou s kulturním vyžitím, s životním prostředím, protože to jsou potom věci, které negenerují ty finanční prostředky. Takže oblast energetiky je společně s dopravou určitě a možná ještě s nějakou infrastrukturou určitě jedno z nejdůležitějších věcí a taky nejdražších věcí, které vlastně ty metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace řeší jako takové, ale nemůže to být jenom o těchto velkých projektech. A když se vrátím k té energetice, tam se v této chvíli a vlivem vlastně těch chytrých řešení a toho, co vidíme tady třeba i na tom URBISu, tak tady se nabízí spousta řešení, které když se použijí, tak můžou zlevnit anebo optimalizovat minimálně vlastně tu spotřebu a prostě ty vynakládané energie. A možná i do budoucna můžou ty obci nějakým způsobem vydělávat, ať už to je nějaká ta komoditní energetika, solární systémy, bioplynové stanice a další. To jsou prostě moderní technologie, které se musíme naučit využívat a je to prostě ta budoucnost.
Já, pokud jsem zaregistroval, tak doposud řekl bych, periferních oblastech, zejména v návaznosti na nárůst cen energií v důsledku tedy nedostatku energetických surovin, tak ty úspory probíhají formou v 11 hodin večer vypneme veřejné osvětlení a zapneme ho až jako následující večer. Tak to není úplně jako ani chytré, ani příjemné řešení, řekl bych. Možná tady je jako skutečně velký prostor pro meziobecní nebo nad tou úrovní samosprávní velký prostor pro spolupráci.
No, zcela nepochybně. A tam ta komunikace, výměna zkušeností, spolupráce na přípravě, projektování vlastně těch věcí. A tam se zase ukazuje, že pokud tohleto řešení udělají v jedné obci, tak to prakticky, neříkám, že nemá vůbec žádný význam, ale nemá to takový dopad. Ale pokud se spojí více subjektů dohromady a dělá se to na nějakým větším území, tak to má ty dopady daleko zajímavější a efektivnější.
A když jsme se dotkli dopravy, energetiky, nelze tedy to shrnout pod jedno slovo odolnost, což je téma, řekl bych, více než aktuální, ať už hovoříme o odolnosti energetické, klimatické, ale i dejme tomu, nechci říct dopravní, demografické, jo? Jak toto téma figuruje v těch politikách metropolitních nebo aglomerací?
Já doufám, že figuruje, ale pokud ne, tak bude muset, protože v této chvíli se evropská politika a evropská dotační politika radikálně mění. V této chvíli už nebudeme mít, nebo možná bude poslední období s nějakýma takovýma těma klasickýma dotacema, ale jeden z obrovských evropských zdrojů a fondů, který vzniká, je Evropský fond pro konkurenceschopnost. Ten je pod patronací Ministerstva průmyslu a obchodu a to nebude fond takový, kde budeme mít svoji obálku a budeme z ní čerpat na jednotlivé projekty, ale to bude fond, který bude podobný spíš tomu Horizonu anebo tím přímo řízeným programům jako takovým a bude to soutěžní fond. To znamená, my budeme muset přijít s kvalitními projekty, budeme je muset dokázat zdůvodnit, podložit nějakými konkrétními daty, napsat dobře žádost a teprve potom v soutěži s ostatními evropskými projekty z toho budeme moct čerpat. A ten trend se bude ubírat tímhletím směrem. Takže ta naše organizace asi dala za cíl vybudovat nějaké struktury, které budou umět dosáhnout na ty prostředky z Evropské unie, které by jinak pro nás zůstaly nedostižné.
Pojďme se podívat tedy trochu do budoucnosti. Jestli tomu dobře rozumím, tak v podstatě české regionální projekty se v relativně blízké budoucnosti ocitnou v evropské konkurenci. To znamená, nebude se vybírat mezi projektem a teď stavby cyklostezky nebo propojení dopravních cest na Rychnovsku nebo Karvinsku, kde budou ty projekty spolu soutěžit, ale bude soutěžit projekt na Rychnovsku s projektem v někde Rakousku nebo Holandsku?
No, zatím to nebude takhle kruté, takový ten skok, ale bude to postupně. Ty cyklostezky a tuhle ty věci zatím zůstanou v té naší kompetenci, ale těch zdrojů bude ubývat a bude jich čím dál tím míň. V téhle chvíli třeba v oblasti dopravy se nám otevírá možnost se zapojit do programu CEF, což je vlastně evropský dopravní program, který je především cílený na napojení na TNT a na ty páteřní systémy a vybudování těch páteřních systémů a my vlastně pokud budeme mít možnost, tak se chceme do toho zapojit třeba s budováním třeba nějakých přestupních terminálů, navazujících systémů v těch jednotlivých aglomeracích a metropolitních oblastech. Ale tu konkurenci pocítíme především v oblasti vědy a výzkumu, v oblasti té odolnosti, tak tam budeme muset se to naučit velmi rychle a ten bod už je na dohled, protože začíná nové programové období v roce 2028.
Když tu hovoříme o postupných a někde možná i jako relativně blízkých změnách podmínek, co se týká konkurence projektů, hovoříme tu o potřebě širšího, dlouhodobějšího plánování těch záměrů. Co si myslíte, že by měl stát Česká republika změnit, aby právě aglomerace nebo metropolitní oblasti mohly plánovat jako dlouhodoběji, aby ten starosta nebo to vedení, které o tom rozhoduje, aby nešlo po těch jednoduchých řešeních, které vím, že v rámci volebního období jsem schopen prosadit a zrealizovat a tudíž prokázat úspěch, ale v podstatě děje se to fragmentovaně bez širších souvislostí.
Já pevně doufám, že ty naše projekty a ty MOA právě budou sloužit k tomu už právě, protože se musí vlastně ty projekty dokládat nejenom žádostí o dotaci, ale i tou strategií, k čemu to slouží, jak to přinese, jaký to má nějaký dlouhodobější efekt. Takže že podpoří vlastně tu myšlenku jako takovou. Ale a teďka se
co by měl stát, může-li učinit proto, aby vlastně usnadnil, anebo naopak jako spíš dokonce tlačil ty
Je to velká
celky.
otázka. Je to velká otázka, co jste položil a ona ta změna, která přichází teď, tomu úplně nenahrává, protože teď se mění úplně celý ten systém toho financování a bude záležet na nás, jak rychle se tomu přizpůsobíme. A za mě je to velmi důležitý ta předvídatelnost. Ta předvídatelnost vlastně toho plánování. Když jsme se dotkli třeba těch dopravních projektů, to nejsou projekty, které se dají naplánovat za týden, 14 dní a připravit. Tam jsou složitý výkupy pozemkový úpravy, i plánování. Takže příprava třeba těch tramvajových tratí, trolejbusových tratí trvá klidně i 10-15 let jako takovej, kde se to připravuje. A ve chvíli, kdy vy nakládáte veřejné prostředky, a to nejsou to malý, jsou to desítky, stovky milionů korun na nějaké ty větší projekty, tak je hrozně důležitý, že víte, že to bude potřeba, že na tu realizaci si dosáhnete, že to nejsou projekty, které se dělají do šuplíku. To znamená, ta předvídatelnost, to, aby ty jednotlivé samosprávy dokázaly zdůvodnit potom vůči svým voličům, že to bude mít takový a takový přínosy a že to nejsou věci, které se vyhodí nebo že které se dělají jenom proto, aby se něco nakreslilo a udělala nějaká vizualizace. Takže ta předvídatelnost. Potom diskutujeme společně s kolegy z ministerstev, tak diskutujeme o vlastně nějakém tom zaměření, které oni budou nějakým způsobem jako prosazovat, kam oni vidí vlastně ten vývoj a teď třeba se o tom taky diskutuje, že bude potřeba nějaké i poradenství na vytvoření vlastně té absorpční kapacity. Musím říct, že ty metropolitní oblasti aglomerace nějaké ty týmy vybudované mají, ale pro většinu České republiky to zázemí a ty věci, které se budou muset, nebo třeba vybudování těch týmů, který budou schopni třeba psát ty evropské projekty, tak to nebude vůbec jednoduchá a časově krátká záležitost.
A s čím podle vás obce nebo samosprávy teďka nejvíc bojují? Je to nedostatek peněz, nebo nízká předvídatelnost, nedostatek dat, nebo i kapacit? Prostě
je to kombinace a budeme se muset naučit i třeba to, o čem se hodně mluví a zatím to nikdo úplně pořádně neřekl, co to bude, a to jsou finanční nástroje, že ta česká cesta, že jdeme jenom cestou jednoznačných dotací, se bude muset nějakým způsobem změnit. To znamená, že budeme si muset ty projekty lépe plánovat, budeme muset vidět nějakou jejich návratnost, nějakou efektivnost, budeme si muset vlastně k tomu přizpůsobit i ty rozpočty těch jednotlivých municipalit a tam bude to třeba právě i o tom podílnictví a o té spolupráci v tom území, aby se ty věci jako rozdělily. My v současné době se snažíme vlastně i na tohleto třeba upozornit a snažíme se vytvořit vlastně v rámci těch finančních nástrojů takový ten segment regionálních finančních nástrojů, aby ty subjekty, které v tom území budou investovat, věděli, že ty peníze potom odsud nezmizí, ale že tam zůstanou a budou se znova protáčet vlastně do věcí, které oni potřebují. Je to jedna z věcí, které bychom rádi vlastně prosadili do té budoucnosti.
Když probíráte projekty a nebo plánujete, kde nejčastěji narážíte na odpor, ať už tedy pasivní, aktivní? Je to u politiků, kteří říkají, s tím za mnou nechoďte, já mám příští rok volby, u úředníků, kterým se třeba nechce z nějakých důvodů, nebo vůbec jako u samospráv, který si konkurují vzájemně mezi sebou, ať už tedy ORPčka s krajem nebo obce s krajem a chtějí si to řešit sami, nechtějí?
Tam se nedá říct, že to je jednoznačně ten problém. Je to jako se vším, je to vždycky kombinace všeho a pokud kdokoliv z posluchačů, diváků řešil jakýkoliv nějaký projekt nebo takový, nebo nějakou vizionářskou myšlenku, tak ví, že naráží na nějaké překážky, které musí zdolávat, protože nikdy to není úplně bez toho, aby jakákoliv nová myšlenka nevyvolala odpor, jako aby se proti tomu nikdo nepostavil. Ale z druhé strany to možná i ty projekty nějakým způsobem i zkvalitňuje, nějaká ta diskuze, oponentura, takže pro mě to není úplně jenom jako negativní, ale možná se tím i ty projekty trošku zlepšujou. Ale jak říkám, ta naše organizace je spíš o komunikaci a my se snažíme vyměňovat si zkušenosti, vyměňovat si data a těmhletěm věcem pokud možno předcházet tím, že ty naše zdůvodnění, ty naše strategie by měly být tak křišťálově čisté, aby ten odpor byl co možná nejmenší.
A setkáváte se s problémem, o kterém jsme tu už hovořili, centrum periferie, to znamená, že dejme tomu i metropolitní politiku anebo politiku aglomerací, můžou ty obce na periferiích vnímat jako posílení dominance toho centra? Stává se to?
Samozřejmě, že na tyhle ty myšlenky narazíte, ale je na nás nebo na těch lidech v těch jednotlivých MOA k tomu, aby to dokázali zdůvodnit. My určitě nebudeme se zabývat projekty, což je postavení nějakého konkrétního chodníku v nějaké konkrétní obci, ale budeme se snažit vlastně do těch našich strategií dostat projekty, na kterých budou participovat všichni, anebo alespoň většina vlastně toho území a ze kterého budou muset mít nějaký profit.
Mm-hmm. A dovolím si na závěr pár velmi jako rychlých otázek. Poprosím vás o stručné odpovědi. Jaké je podle vás, anebo jsou podle vás nejpodceňovanější témata v té oblasti aglomerace a metropolitních oblastí?
To si netroufnu říct, jako takhle jednoznačně. Za mě každá aglomerace má svoji specifiku a jak říkám, Karlovy Vary jsou jiné než pražská metropolitní oblast, takže za mě netroufnu si jako takhle paušalizovat.
A existuje nějaká oblast, v které česká města nebo metropolitní oblasti jsou skutečně i evropsky úspěšná, mohou sloužit jako dobrý příklad?
Já si myslím, že třeba dopravní obslužnost a veřejná doprava v České republice je na velmi vysoké úrovni.
A jaké technologie podle vás budou mít jako nejvyšší dopad do realizace projektů a plánování projektů metropolitních oblastí v budoucnosti?
Určitě to bude příchod umělé inteligence, ale i změna vlastně toho energetického mixu a všech dalších věcí. Tohle to budou věci, které dopadnou prakticky na všechny.
A kdyby nás poslouchal nějaký starosta, a vy byste měl velmi stručně vyjádřit, co by si měl odnést z hesla metropolitní spolupráce, co je pro obec nejdůležitější na metropolitní spolupráci?
Zúčastnit se té diskuze, zúčastnit se toho plánování, zapojit se se svými vizemi a pokusit se vlastně najít nějaké provazby se svými partnery, okolními obcemi, dalšími subjekty, kteří v tom území jsou. A ta práce vlastně v těch aglomeracích je o komunikaci. To znamená sesbírat ty nápady, poskládat je, najít v tom nějakou společnou myšlenku, najít tu integrovanost a propojit to a zaměřit se k tomu na projekty, které to území prostě nějakým způsobem posunou.
A my jsme si povídali s panem Erichem Benešem, ředitelem kanceláře Svazu obcí metropolitní oblasti a aglomerace České republiky. Děkuji za rozhovor.
Také děkuji.